So what is Scottish Rite? Well, for starters, you first have to be a Mason, which it just so happens I am. So first you're a Mason, and then you become a Scottish Rite Mason, or you can choose to become a Scottish Rite Mason. Now there are three main bodies in Masonry. There are the Scottish Rite, the Shriners, which I'm sure you've heard of Shriners Hospital, and then the other one is called York Rite, or Commandery, and they have to do with the Knights Templar. They have ties with Knights Templar and their history. Now the Commandery, you actually have to be a Christian to be a member of. Scottish Rite, you just have to believe in a higher power, essentially answering to someone else besides just yourself. So you don't necessarily have to believe in Jesus Christ, but you definitely have to believe in a God of a higher power. For example, Allah, or as in Islam or other religions. But you have to believe in a higher power in order to be a Mason and to be a member of Scottish Rite and to be a Shriner, because all those require membership and to be a Mason itself. Now, Scottish Rite individually is an organization within Masonry with only about, I would say, 10 or 20% of Masons belong to Scottish Rite. Now, you start out to become a Scottish Rite Mason, you start out with a black hat. A black hat basically resembles something like this. This particular hat you would get when you become a Scottish Rite Mason. This hat symbolizes a 32nd degree Mason. In Masonry, you have the first, second, and third degree. And some organizations say there is only 3 degrees. However, Scottish Rite recognizes 33 degrees. This hat is the 32nd degree. So you become a member of Scottish Rite, you'll go through an initiation period, and you'll be shown the different degrees, and they'll go through. Some of them will actually be written out so you could read and study. Others will be a little more like a presentation through a PowerPoint. Others will actually be acted out in a sequence of events, and people will be dressed in robes and have regalia on and different hats they'll be wearing. But this particular hat is a 32nd degree. And you can also signify it. For one, it says 32nd right there on top. And the second thing is you'll notice that the wings here are pointed downward and not upward, which would be like a bird taking off ready to fly. He'll have his wings up, and so that's what you'll see. Now, after that, once you've been involved, say, normally at least 5 years, sometimes it takes even longer than that, you'll get nominated to be KCCH, or get your red hat. Now me, I got my red hat I think a couple months ago, maybe 1 month ago. Red hat looks like this. It's actually a red hat. And it's got, you can see a different symbol on the front of it as opposed to this one. So see, the hats are definitely different, more than just color. This, of course, is a hat box for your hat. So you would get a hat, and then you would get a hat box with that. And of course, you would just unzip that and open that. Maybe one of these is open. Oh, good, that one's open. So that's actually got a hat in it there. And you would put your name on it if you'd like, and you could then tote it around. Most organizations, like our particular valley, is what we call, our district is called a valley. This particular valley, the Valley of Columbus, we have a hat room that you can keep your hat in. Essentially, there's a whole bunch of hangers, and you would just take the handle of your hat box and put it on the hanger. That way you don't have to worry about putting it in your car, out of your car, and next time you come to a meeting, you don't forget it, because that sometimes can happen. Lucky for me, we have some extras. Maybe if I could show them to you. We have some extras over in the corner. I'll be glad to show you. So some of our extra hats are here. Now, as I mentioned, our red hats, you would need to be in it for about 5 years and be actively involved in the Scottish Rite organization. We only meet once a month. Some meet more often than that. Some meet less than that. We meet once a month, but you would get your red hat. After you've been, now the red hats are the ones that decide who of the black hats will get a red hat. Each valley is only given so many red hats per every 2 years in the state of Georgia. Other states may be different. Some may be 3, some may be 1. But of all the black hats that are eligible, basically you've been in 5 years or met the criteria of that particular state, whatever that might be, you would be eligible for a red hat. Now, in the state of Georgia, the white hats and the red hats decide who the next red hats are going to be. This particular valley, we only gave out 3 at the last time we gave out red hats. I happened to get one of them. 2 other gentlemen got red hats, but there were approximately 25 others that were eligible. I just happened to get one by a sheer vote. Hopefully it was because of my merits of being involved and putting forth an effort through our degree work, being at meetings, and just being actively engaged in what Scottish Rite was doing. Now, you probably saw the other hat here. You probably saw the white hats and the blue hats. The white hats are going to signify a Mason, and as you can see, there's a different logo here. This logo signifies the 33-degree Mason. So this particular logo means you're a 33rd. If you know where I mentioned before, this was the 32nd, and this was the 32nd degree KCCH, which is Knight Court of Honor, Knight Captain Court of Honor. So, and it actually says a little bit of that. You see how it says Knight Commander Court of Honor? So you're Knight Commander Court of Honor. And you actually do get knighted in this order. Not so much in this order, but in the red hat order, you definitely get knighted. They actually put the knight on the saber on top of your head and on your shoulders and knight you. Now, the white hats signify the 33rd degree. Now, the 33rd degree, what it is, it gets voted on, another popularity contest, if you will, gets voted on by white hats only. Now, this last year, for the last 2 years, we've only given out one white hat. So it is a very, very close-knit group. And again, you have to do things to signify yourself or outstanding work within the Scottish Rite. Now, you notice one other hat I didn't mention, but it's pretty obvious what it might be. Yes, just what you think. This is a 50-year hat. So essentially, you could be a black hat, a red hat, or a white hat and be a 50-year Scottish Rite. Doesn't mean 50-year Masons, obviously that comes by default, but say if I might have my 50-year apron as a regular Mason, but not have my 50-year hat because I didn't join immediately. So this signifies 50 years within Scottish Rite Masonry is what this hat here. And of course we have our banners and that sort of thing, and we definitely recognize, you see down here we've got Shriner Fezes, Alcazar out of Montgomery, Ali out of Savannah, Alsaya out of Macon, Georgia. So we have those. What else I want to tell you about? This hat here is for Knights of St. Andrew. Now, what is Knights of St. Andrew? Knights of St. Andrew is a black hat organization. You can be a red hat and a white hat and be a member, but typically you're an affiliate member. You're not an active member in the organization. And the other thing that you may not be is you may not be an officer in that organization. Hopefully, when you've come through, you decided to join them. You went up in the ranks, as I did last year, and became the commander of Knights of St. Andrew. The commander's got a little different hat. I may show that to you in another video. It's got checkers on the side of it, which are red in our organization, and also a gold feather. Gold feather signifies that you are an officer, but if you have 3 gold feathers, it means you're the commander of the Knights of St. Andrew. Excuse me. And this particular building is our Scottish Rite building. This is my office. Again, working and not working full-time allows me to do this part-time also. We've got some other displays that you can see there. Kind of explains a little bit of the information I just shared with you. This is a really nice facility. We've got basically a parlor room here. We also call this our library. We recognize different Masons. For example, this gentleman up here you might recognize. Yeah, that would be old GW himself, George Washington. He was a Mason, very proud Mason. There was an entire monument dedicated to him in Washington, D.C. that you should go check out. Don't have to be a Mason to go see it. They've got a lot of different floors. Now, I mentioned in Masonry, you'll see in the monument of George Washington, that particular monument is it's made like a huge obelisk, 4-sided, looks like kind of like the Washington Monument, but not nearly as tall. But it's very ornate, a lot more decorations on it than you would find in the main Washington Monument in D.C. It is in it's south of D.C. is where it's located. The name escapes me from where it's actually located, but it's not far from his childhood home. I want to say Arlington. I know that's not it. Arlington's the cemetery. But so anyway, what George Washington did was he was a Mason. He was also involved in other organizations, and there are lots of other organizations that are represented within the building there. If you go up on the other floors, it talks about Scottish Rite Masonry. It talks about York Rite Masonry has their own room. It also talks about a lot of the others. Tall Cedars, Order of the Amaranth, Order of the Eastern Star. Now, Order of the Eastern Star and Order of the Amaranth are a little different where they do allow female members. Now, normally, those female members are some way associated with a Mason. Maybe their uncle, maybe their brother, their father, whoever. They may be married to a Mason, whoever that might be. So they do have some type of affiliation connection, but not always. There's also younger organizations. The Rainbow Girls are for young ladies who are, I believe it's 12 years old to 21. I believe they could be members there. And the boys are DeMolay, and they also have squires within DeMolay, which I think they lowered that age to 11. Every state's a little bit different. You would just have to check locally to see what they do there. So as we go along down the hallway, I wanted to show you some of the other things that we have here. Typical sign-in book. Got some of our members there. We've got some history that we do here. Now, you might have seen the alcohol here. Understand something. In Masonic lodges in the state of Georgia, we're not allowed to have alcohol. So if we throw a party or rent the building out, we're not supposed to serve alcohol there. In Scottish Rite, it's differently. Also is in the Shrine Club. The Shrine Club and Shrine Centers, they actually have a bar in some of those. Pay as you go, that sort of thing. But not that they get out there and get drunk every time, because that's not it at all. But they're allowed to have alcohol. If they want to have it for a ceremony or what have you, or someone wants to have a drink, it's allowed. I will say this. Nationally, some Shriners can get pretty crazy. I happen to be a Shriner also. I just don't get into the craziness that goes along with some of them. Not all of them. There's a lot of really good organizations that really resemble a lot of what Scottish Rite resembles. We have our degree work every year. We have our initiations when we do our degree work, and we get people started so they can see exactly what we do and how we benefit things. If you've heard of Scottish Rite, what you probably know of is Scottish Rite hospitals or Scottish Rite centers. Also one's called Rite Care. Rite Care helps young children with speech problems, whatever they might be. Maybe it's sign language. Maybe they can't speak at all. They're mute. But it's a great organization that helps. There's several of those. I think there's 5 in the state of Georgia, and it helps children with speech problems. This particular room here is our main room. We do rent this out from time to time. We do have a stage. We do all of our initiations in this room here. And I mentioned we actually act out, so we have a stage. We have the stage here. And one thing I really want to show you here is some of our pull downs that we have at our stage. Now this particular stage, I don't know if you can see up there, there are lots of things to pull down. You see all those? There's a whole lot of those different ones that we can pull down. And they have lots of different ornate backgrounds to them. So they look really nice, and maybe I can shine some light on some of this. I've got an old school control board. Let me see what we got here. So we got an old school control board here. And that kind of lit it up maybe a little more. So you can see some of the tapestries we have here. Lots of different ones. They go way up there, like as most stages would have tapestries. And but we can slide these down depending on what degree work we're doing. Each one may be a combination of a few. We might have one in the backdrop. We might have one that just has columns on the side that you can see. But if you ever get a chance to join Scottish Rite Masonry, you can see exactly what we act out and all this. I mean, even our wives don't know exactly what they look like, because most of these initiations are closed to the public. A couple things about initiations. I don't want you to think it's not like a college where there could be hazing, that sort of thing. We don't haze or anything like that. Everyone leaves here unscathed. I'm in a fraternity also. There's a lot of similarities between a college fraternity and us. Basically, we have passwords and handshakes and that sort of thing. That's basically our secret. It really is. But what we do in this degree work is we teach brothers about integrity. We teach them about how to be a good man. To be a Mason to begin with, you have to be a good man, or at least someone has vouched for you that you're a good man. So that's the cornerstone. We're not a rehab organization. We try to find good men to bring them together with like ideas, and we try to instill in them the beliefs of Scottish Rite, Freemasonry, Shriners, and regular Masonry. As you can see, this is a huge stage. We've got a lot of flexibility here as far as what we can and can't do. But again, we'll have dinners at this particular facility sometimes. We have one in January called the Burns Night. Doesn't mean we catch anything on fire. It's named for Robert Burns. He was a Mason and a poet from Scotland. And this being Scottish Rite, we have some ties to, we like our ties, our Scottish roots from the organization. I'm actually Irish, about 26% Irish. And if you know any history at all, the Irish and the Scots didn't necessarily get along. But for Scottish Rite Masonry, we do. There's really no discrimination here. It's whoever is a Mason can be a Scottish Rite as long as you're a member in good standing. The other thing we have over here with this building, you can see we've got a loft. We've got a loft up here. There's a control set. There's also up there in the corner. There's a piano. We've got a piano over here. I think it still works. Oh, if I could only play, but I can't. But I can't. Anyway, but it does play. And this is one of our, well, we used to vote. Probably seen some of these at different places. It's pretty neat. You basically pick up what you will need, and most of that you can find online as far as how Masons vote and that sort of thing. We use it here, but not very often. We think we've used it 2 or 3 times. Oh, it got dark on us in here, didn't it? I'm going to turn this light on here real quick. Show you our full service kitchen. We do have a full kitchen in here. The full setup, gas, serving area, refrigerators, blah, blah, blah. Also our back area, which I really need to cut this light out. Notice I said cut. That's a southern term. You don't say turn around here, you say cut. So you don't turn the light off, you cut the light off. Or you cut the light on. Although you never use scissors. So again, it's a southern thing. This shows you some of our pictures of our newer members that got their red hats. We've got them dated up here. I'm not up here yet because, well, I just haven't actually gotten a good picture of us yet, of the 3 of us. And also we have our initiation classes here. This was Spring Reunion 2018, and I got to post the 2019 reunion classes that I haven't got pictures of yet, but we'll get those eventually. Well, it did get dark in here. Well, that's really a grand tour of what we do here at Scottish Rite, what our building is how beautiful our building is, and that's pretty much it. Ooh, look at those lights. Aren't those nice? Got a little bit of everything there, don't they, huh? Wow, nice. This is happening because I turn switches on in the back, which I'll have to get to. But I just want to let you know that this is some of the things that we do in Scottish Rite, and we get together once a month. We have a good time. A lot of our programs here we invite the ladies to. Not all Scottish Rites are like that. Depends on the state, depends on the valley or jurisdiction that they're in. So hope you've enjoyed this little bit of commentary on what Scottish Rite is and kind of how we operate here in the Valley of Columbus. Y'all take care. We'll see you later.